Betwixt the raising of the undying emperor and the great planar war that shook the heavens, there was an age of contradiction, where cannons won kingdoms and muskets kept the peace. A brave few won the hearts of the conquered and conquerors alike. Of these we speak of the decline of the great kingdoms and cultures under the heel of empire. Of those we speak of gladiators and the untold thousands that worshipped them. Of this, an age of glory, where kings would be slaves and a gladiator would be king.
We'll start with P. Don't eat anything that rhymes with orc. Cork. Some cork soaking. Good afternoon and welcome to Die Dragon Die presents the Dread in the Circus campaign, episode 15. I'm your DM and host, Marty, joined by Adam and Ahmed, which I will... No, I'm just joined by Adam, actually. No Ahmed. Ahmed will join a little bit later, and I'm going to unmute Adam's mic now that he's done eating his disgusting snack.
They're still here.
They're still here? They're still left? Because you couldn't eat the rest of the bag because they're so gross. You just had to take a moment.
No, I just paced myself, man.
Okay.
You've got 8 grams of protein and 8 grams of fat with 1 gram of carb per serving. That's why.
Uh-huh.
They got a macro breakdown.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Ahmed's in there going, poutine! Just poutine all the things!
Right. Let me reset this thing every single time we reset VC. We need to
Greetings.
redo our lovely faces here. So you can see our expressions, you know, like when Adam eats gross pork rinds. Okay. How was your week, man? You did some traveling?
My week, I was in Ottawa. I was trying to see if I could get a hookup with Ahmed going, but I worked a lot.
Yeah.
And then I worked on the statutory holiday, and then I worked on the Saturday, and then I've got one half meeting booked for the Sunday, and then it's the day that most of the province takes as a holiday. That day's going to be a busy day. So yeah.
That's Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm working on something that's got as many Americans or as many not Canadians as it does Canadians, and
Yep. So they
in general, not
they don't give a
Canadians
shit.
don't go like Easter. Time to take a day off. No. Yeah.
Yeah, my week at work was really busy too. I worked on Sunday, and then I'd had a 14-hour day Monday. So basically by the time end of day Monday, I'd already worked 20 hours.
Yep.
I was fucking dead. I was like walking zombie by the time Friday rolled around. But I'm feeling okay today. I got up, I slept in, got up, did my stuff, went to the grocery store, came back, ate lunch / breakfast. And then had a nap.
See, I didn't time this as properly as I should have. I missed a workout, so I went really hard in the gym yesterday, and then I went to sleep late because Jessica had to work. And then I was like, "Don't worry, I don't have anything until 11. I will just sleep in." And then I started getting phone calls around 8:40, so I got about 4 hours of sleep.
Demon Lord Nemi, that Hydra fight was awesome. I don't know if Adam caught the fight.
The only thing I know is that Marty let slip that Sam didn't die through email before anybody could dick around with me.
Because some of the characters leveled. That's how awesome that fight was. After I tallied up the XP for the gladiators, Sam leveled, Ugg leveled, Arlen leveled, and Snowbeard leveled. Edouard didn't level because he just finished leveling. Like he just got to third basically. Is there a lot more things on it than before? Poutine? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe. I don't know. I don't live in Canada anymore. I think they kicked me out because I don't eat poutine and I don't.
If we're talking about poutine and things on it, there's a lot of like
artisanal poutine toppings kind of thing. Yeah, it's just like pizza. Just go with pepperoni and cheese. Don't be stupid.
No. Come to Ontario, get a bacon cheesesteak poutine from Filthy Phillies. There's like 6 of them across sort of western or the Toronto area. It is god tier. It's got back bacon, regular bacon, onions, and cheesesteak meat on top of a poutine, and it is glorious. That is a cheat meal that I do once a month or so. That's the cheat meal of like, yeah.
Awesome.
Comatose.
Why don't we do what are we doing tonight? Are we going to do some Ashoka role-playing and setting up matches? Because I feel like Ashoka wants to go around and diplomacy all the things.
He would like to talk to every living being in the town.
Right.
Can I speak with anything?
And that's sometimes...
If it has a pulse or if it moves.
That's sometimes like you got to share the spotlight. Anyway, when it's like you've always got a thing to do, and Phineas is like, "Yeah, I'm just crafting." I'm like, "Oh man, I've got some ideas on how to get Phineas more involved." Like I actually chatted with Quinta when I was on my work break. He caught me on like the chat. I was playing around with polls. He was like, "Are you here?" I'm like, yes, I am. So we chatted about like how do we get Phineas more involved? Because Magnus has his thing, which is fighting. Ashoka talks to everyone, and Phineas is a recluse who does crafting. So crafting happens, but there's not a lot of, every once in a while you can make something cool happening during crafting. But it's sort of like he chose this character that shuns the spotlight. So we need to dredge him out a little bit more, and I've got a couple of ideas on how to do that. It may have to do with the fact that he's the only Imperial citizen in Eurlutus. And other Imperial citizens don't want to talk to fucking shifty Snake Man or Barbarian dude. They want to talk to a fellow Imperial. He's also the only wizard in Eurlutus, and wizards tend to want to talk to wizards. So there's a couple of ideas there. Yeah,
when they bring out the big Imperial juicer for the sorcerers, Ashoka's going to basically be, no, I am just a snake.
I'm just a rogue. I'm just the talking guy.
I'm just a rogue. I will disarm that trap, and you best believe, or whatever.
Lucas, how goes? Good to see you, folks. So why don't we do a recap of what happened? Ooh, I'm spitting everywhere. Why don't we do a recap of what happened? Really juicy gummy bear. Of what happened with the Masters last. As Nemi had mentioned, there was a cool fight with the Hydra with the Caravan of Lies. But we'll switch back to Vatapole, where the Masters of the Conclave of Crimson Scale are residing. So Game 13 was Blood for the Spring Gods. The Conclave of Crimson Scale makes their inaugural debut in the annual springtime opening games at the Civic Arena of Vatapole. Magnus and his gladiators face an unlikely paladin and his displacer beast. Sir Prentice the Condemned faces a multitude of fellow condemned in a series of placement matches. As I fix spelling as I'm reading this. Outside of the games, the Guild of Beast Tamers takes custody of Zargon the Red. Magnus meets Maeve and her followers in the veins beneath the arena. Phineas makes a friend in the nosebleed seats overrun with common folk. Ashoka visits the house of the Grim Goblin and treats with Mama Bloodbear, a prominent gladiator in their stable.
Mama.
What's that? Mama Bloodbear?
Mama.
Big, scary bugbear lady that is not their most powerful gladiator, but their longest living gladiator.
Yeah. I wasn't even certain at the end of that conversation whether or not she was a gladiator. I just knew that she'd like to eat sentience. And offered to... That thing I asked for before of like, I need a way to get rid of the dead bodies when I finally accidentally fall into a dead body. Feed it to the goblins. Seems pretty straightforward. It'll work until we get disintegrate spells.
Now, this will work as long as you can get the body outside the city walls. The goblins seem to be residing in the Baydock areas outside of the city walls, between that and the harbor. and they've got a number of buildings. They mentioned bring the body just in front of the cave and we'll make it disappear. The Goblin Queen's house, which had a bunch of goblin guards, which were quite comedic, and the House of the Grim Goblin, where all the goblins live, you think, aside from the ones that live in the cave. Like, I missed the episode of which you speak. So yeah, we were doing last Saturday. It seems to be like we're in a when we go back and forth. It's like sometime during the week we do the Caravan of Lies, and on Saturdays we seem to have been doing the Masters. So there was a long episode where we had started the springtime games in the Conclave of the Crimson Scale in Vatapole, and then on what was it? Thursday, Friday, Wednesday. What did we play? I don't know. Sometime this week.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday this week. We played the episode was called 8 Heads Are Better Than 5, and this one's got a really short sort of summary because it was basically the continuation of the fight with the Hydra. The party of gladiators continue their battle with the dread Hydra spawn of Chella the Azurer, while at the same time facing their former captors upon the sands. Sometimes it doesn't need to be totally elaborate, but it was a super fun fight. Yeah, I would go back and watch Tony the Hydra.
He got named Tony?
Yeah, the stream must have named him Tony. And oh, what the fuck, Ahmed? Hey, how's it going, man? Let me just get your. We are streaming. We are live, Ahmed. We're live. Hot mic. Jesus Christ,
man!
hot mic.
Haven't you heard me?
Look how dapper. Yeah, he looks all dapper.
Oh my dapper. The head has been polished and everything. Oh my gird. Don't worry, I'm catching up. I got trimmed and they told me it's even worse back here.
So when you guys do go bald, do you actually buy some like head polish, or is that just normal like?
I've been shaving my head since I was 16. So yeah, this is what tanned leather looks like. Are you guys doing Masters today?
I think we're going to do, Ashoka's going to diplomatize all the things in Masters. We have a backup plan of, Mark had a request that I think he feels left out with Magnus having all the glory in the arena. He's saying that each of us should create a mercenary gladiator that I don't know, that gets to fight lots. So he's got some mercenary gladiator ideas. Adam had a dwarf gladiator that we did during our 5e playtest. When we basically spent an honest afternoon building 5e characters and running into combat, we went, yeah, no, thanks.
By the end of looking at how characters are built, it's like now I know how he finishes at 20. There's no. Oh.
So just quickly, Magnus has 2 feats that he wants to retrain.
Yes.
As a fighter, you get to retrain 1. I don't know if it's this level. It might be next level. Fighters get to retrain feats automatically.
I mean,
when
don't
they
you
get
guys
to
have
levels.
the other gladiators that you control? Yeah, they do. I think what Mark was saying is we rolled randomly for all those gladiators. He wants to create a gladiator where he controls the build from the beginning.
Yeah, like the Masters. The Masters were created.
Can Nemi have his wyvern? I don't know what that means. Nem the imp doesn't own a wyvern. Some guy out there in this world, yes, he owns a wyvern. There's a dude out there somewhere who owns a wyvern. They are going to the Duchy of the Wyvern, or Wyvern, next, they being the Caravan of Lies. So there might be something there. Ahmed, good seeing you, man, but we're going to continue on with game.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys do your thing.
Okay.
I'm all up for getting another character. I have a spy that we could probably add. Anyway, I'll let you guys think about it.
You see, here's the thing. Ahmed might introduce somebody for the Ludus, while the other 2 of you might introduce, like, gladiators, right? Because Magnus is kind of like the gladiator.
A gladiator.
I think Mark is jealous of the fun that Magnus is having. He's like, I want that. So,
as a point of principle, I'm going to make the most boring gladiator I can possibly make.
No, don't make him boring.
I would make him just like a tank or something. He tanks, and it's just,
I don't think it sucks. I think it's very simplified, Drakester. I liken D&D 5 as a perfect way of getting people onto this concept of role-playing games if they never rolled before. But it's oversimplified, and there are some things that are way, way too powerful, like advantage. Rolling twice and taking the higher of the two is insane how often that comes up. And it speeds combat up. It makes the game really fast. It makes the game really fast. But because we came from a tradition of 2E, 3E, 3.5, we skipped 4. We looked at 4. We played it a couple times and went, yeah, this isn't D&D. And then we found Pathfinder, fell in love with Pathfinder because it was a natural continuation of 3rd edition. So basically, books that were in print in 2001, we can still pick up and very easily convert. 5e was a really good thing for Wizards of the Coast, because for a while, Pathfinder Paizo was like number one. Like, D&D was not the number one company selling D&D like things, and that was Pathfinder. I'm super excited for Pathfinder 2 2nd Edition, which is coming out in August. Their playtest version they're going to put out as books. August 2nd is when it comes out. We will definitely run some sort of campaign where we playtest live 2E Pathfinder. Like, I've seen some stuff, and it seems like Pathfinder is really crunchy. We've been doing it for so long that we're able to do it quicker than I would say somebody who had started out. We're also most of us are engineers and don't mind numbers, and we do math all the time, sometimes poorly when we're tired. 5e is an oversimplification. We kind of looked at this and we went, yeah, we can imagine exactly how our character is going to look all the way to the end. We don't have to play this game. The whole concept of advancement is now like kind of a letdown. We basically said no. But I think from what I've heard from Pathfinder 2e, it's somewhere in the middle. It's a simplification of Pathfinder, but it's not all the way to where 5e is. So we'll see.
I would have liked the character creation from I like the Pathfinder character creation. If you mix that with the 5e combat, I think you get something pretty cool.
They've done some interesting things
combat goes faster.
Combat to make it go faster. They've changed action economy. They've simplified it a little bit. Let me dig out a little bit later, maybe when we take a break. There's one podcast that does a breakdown of what they saw during a playtest game session podcast. So it's like a summary of what happened over like a 4-hour playtest of the game, and it's a pretty good summary. So maybe I'll share that a little bit. Yeah, the 3 action thing. Which is pretty cool. So I'm excited for it. The game is at the point where like we've run out of flavors of bubblegum. You know, there's nothing else that they could really add that wouldn't be just total fluff or just like detailing the next little corner of Galarian.
Or just pure power creep.
Oh yeah, just pure power creep things that we have to just then, like
why would you do that?
Play test ourselves. Exactly. So you got to sell a book, so they stick 10 cool powers in there that make every other class obsolete.
Remember how this was a thing where like, oh, we had this one way to make Dex your thing? No, any motherfucker can do it.
Yeah. As someone's pet, yeah. They've got a pet imp somewhere. We named it after Nemi. Because he kept on saying imps. I think for 2 games straight, he was just hammering away about these imps. And I was like, fine. You could affect the game. All right. So we're going to, first get rid of 2 atoms. Ahmed.
2 atoms is better than 1. Everything should now go to the democracy. Also, Leia's getting into the pork rind bag.
So I think what we're going to do, there was some training, some crafting, and there were a bunch of diplomacy to set up, I guess, the next round of matches that Ashoka wanted to do. So why don't we jump into that? First, I'm going to see, they did level up since last time that they're now level 5. So Ashoka is a Rogue 5 Consigliere archetype, and he's a Sorcerer 5 with some unknown bloodline. Let's see, what did you choose as your 5th level feat?
Seal spell, which is really complex.
We heard seal spell, so it's like
Yeah,
just a bunch of seal casting. Black dude with a scar on his face. It sings really well. Casting.
Leia's is trying to get the bottom out of the pork rind bag. We'll see if she will go away with it. Oh, there she goes. She got it out. All right. Conceal spell.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
God damn it, Leia. There we go. You'll get it later. You'll get it later when it's dinner break. So he took conceal spell as his feat, which allows him to cast spells amongst basically morons without them noticing. They get a check versus my sleight of hand for somatic components or my bluff for the verbal components.
Is it a perception check or a sense motive? What is it?
It is. We will pull up the feat because it is 3-4 paragraphs long.
Oh, lovely.
It's one of them. All right, conceal spell. When you cast a spell, use a spell-like ability, you can attempt to conceal verbal or somatic components among other speech and gestures to conceal the manifestation of the casting the spell, so others don't realize that you're casting a spell. The attempt to hide the spells.
It's a perception or spellcraft check.
It's a perception, sense motive, or spellcraft check for one set. It's a bluff or disguise for the other.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask is underneath your spell, just put like a bullet point, like for verbal, it's this skill that you make versus that, and then, kind of just like spell out the two options so I can just glance at your character sheet.
The DC they use for this is 15 plus ranks plus cha. I've got feats that modify. The question is, do those feats that modify the skill count towards this?
Don't think so because it's DC 15. I think they're kind of wrapping that into the 5.
So the reason why that 15 comes in is that 15 will also be the part of the class bonus plus 3 because that doesn't get included in there. And then you take a penalty, or they get a bonus on the check for each circle of spell being cast.
Oh, that's weird that they just wouldn't use your skill bonus.
Yeah, this is. Like, skill bonus plus 10 can... so here, right now, if it was a disguise check, it would be DC 25 for a cantrip and DC 24 for a first circle spell, DC 23 for a second circle spell.
Oh, because the more powerful the spell, the easier it is to know that you're casting. That's why they probably start with a 15.
Right, because that's halfway between... like halfway to 9th.
Let's just try the numbers as it's written before we mess
around.
Yep.
Right. Now it goes all the way to, so yeah, for somatic components it's sleight of hand versus perception or spellcraft.
Okay. So yeah, if you could summarize that maybe a little bit later, on your character sheet, so I can glance at it. Cool.
I took for skills. I put things that I learned. I learned about Vatapole. I took a knowledge local rank in that.
Yeah, you've been wandering around the town and that sort of thing, so that's good.
Yep. I also sort of rounded out my skills a little bit more, and I made certain that I had the prereqs for a certain prestige class that shall remain completely named as assassin based on this dagger.
You found this dagger, you're like, that's a neat idea.
I could stab people with this.
Right. Yeah, that looks good. And then we'll build a custom feat that allows you to apply your charisma instead of your int to the assassin death attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My spells. I got an extra roll on all the those charmer, hard to fool, honeyed words powers, which is nice. So it's 2 per day, roll twice.
Nice.
And then for spells, I took shield as my first because I didn't have a defensive spell. protection from good doesn't really count. There's no good people here. Though I'd use
Yes,
good
there is.
protection from good.
You fought a paladin in the, or your gladiators fought a paladin.
The protection from good is only useful to protect myself from the future gladiators that we'd be fighting. And then I took Eagle Splendor because it's good as a buff for social situations as well.
Okay.
And I got Scorching Ray from the bonus spell.
What does Ashoka want to do? So you guys have finished the second. You guys have finished the second like 5-day period. Phineas has basically cornered himself in the room. He's going through the crafting list that you're supposed to provide him. I believe this turn he crafted a bunch of armor for your gargoyle, if I remember correctly. Ashoka spent the time basically doing some spying, directing spying. You were trying to spy on the broken shield house. Effectively, we had the random encounter, or the random thing that happened. Ashoka received a letter from the we put Demon Lord Nemi asleep. Sorry, man. And then Ashoka received a letter from the, what are they called? The pirate assholes. No, the water guys.
The Sabros the Black Heart from the group of the Sea God's Fury.
Yep. So what does Ashoka want to do?
Yeah. Well, Ashoka has yet to talk to the Duke. Are we yet to do a proper talk with the Duke, or a proper talk with the the Grand Order of the Fallen Monastic Traditions? We probably start with the Grand Order of the Fallen Monastic Traditions.
Okay. Now give me a knowledge local for Vatapol. See what you know about this Ludus already.
25.
Modron's just like, not 20 this shit. Okay, the Grand Order of the Fallen Monastic Traditions, you know, are a squabbling bunch of monastic traditions. Even in the factions that they formed under, they don't all get along, or there's a lot of religious argument. It's like, picture in a healthy kingdom a long time ago, there might have been many monastic traditions, and they've all been kind of forced or crammed into like 2 or 3. They spend more time fighting each other than they do other gladiatorial houses.
I'm kind of picturing like just past Opium War, Hong Kong area type thing.
Yeah. Where basically, and remember, religious freedom comes with service to the gladiatorial arena. There are basically 3 monasteries that you know of, and maybe a collection of smaller ones. There's the Order of Divine Light. There is the Monastery of Dissolution, or also known as the Black House. One would be towards basically good or goodly deities, or monks that serve goodly causes. The Black House is all about destruction and death, nihilism. And the Tower of Contemplation, which strategically sits between the 2 of them, is the home to their leader, who is
neutral, dirty neutral.
Dirty neutral.
I don't know what I did. Maybe you're right up, Marty. This I got this little piece of pork rind stuck like right on the back with the dangle of my throat thing. Little doodle.
You know his name is Grandmaster Cyril the Wise, and he's an old but powerful monk. He alone, or he and his disciples, keep the peace to the point where there isn't like open street fighting, or there's very little open street fighting.
All right. So speaking with the Order of the Fallen Monastic Traditions, that's really 3 different people I need to speak with. Because I need to know who's in charge of the Divine Light and who's in charge of Dissolution, just because, like, if we want to sort of tip the balance of power, Who would be the number 2 guy that would want to take over?
All right, so you're asking who the heads of the monasteries are, the individual ones?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. The monastery dissolution. Give me a separate roll.
All right. 17.
It is a goblinoid death priest. You're pretty sure his first name is Xaturn.
That was dissolution?
Yep.
Xaturn. You're gonna have to fix the spelling on that when you feel the need.
Yep. And the next guy.
Eight. Some guy I didn't want to talk to anyway.
You're not sure. There's probably a collection of holy men or monks in the Order of Divine Light. It's not the type of place that Ashoka goes and just shows up in the front door.
I didn't really want to know what, like, I'm not planning on walking up to them and going, "Hi guys, let's have a chat." And then the contemplation of the Heavenly Tower, or whatever you said, the contemplation group is what I said for the short form. That's
Yep.
Grandmaster Cyril.
Yeah, Grandmaster Cyril. Grandmaster Cyril's there. In fact, from your balcony in your ludus, you can see the Tower of Contemplation. There, you know enough from your natural 20 that sometimes he goes out onto the out of the Tower of Contemplation and hovers above it while he meditates. Something about cloud walking.
That sounds cool. Well, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Yep. Okay, so basically on this block of time, we're going to call this diplomacy. So you're going to basically spend this 5-day block going around and talking to people and setting up things.
Yep.
We'll say that you could probably get in maybe 2 chats per day just to keep it sane.
Okay.
Before we actually have to do a turn.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with doing while you're not here. There's a bunch of like maintenance type stuff that, I'm pretty sure you can make decisions for the Ludus for. So,
yeah.
Ashoka, are you bringing anyone when you go to the tower?
Give me 1 second.
You bringing anything?
Do I follow in the footsteps of Ahmed and bring a gift with me everywhere I go?
I think that was also Mark's modus operandi.
That was whose?
Mark did that last game.
Oh, there was that Dragon something RPG where you always had to give gifts to your... Ahmed made characters in that game where you'd have like no charisma and he'd just be using gifts to keep his party members from leaving, just constantly buying gifts. Half of the party wealth went into gifts.
Just paying people for friendship.
Okay.
It's like DMing. Yeah, I'll DM for you guys. I want you as my friends.
Okay, Ashoka will bring Akka with him.
Okay.
As a guard. And in terms of bringing a gift, let's see if we have anything in our current stocks.
Akka doesn't mind leaving the Ludus. Well, you notice that he's been a little less chatty with you since the whipping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's fine. The stables. Okay.
Ashoka is going to go and visit some of the masters of Ludi that he hasn't visited yet.
Mm-hmm. Ashoka's pretty convinced that he can speak politely to these people. He doesn't feel he needs to bring a present.
Interesting. The stream called for a random encounter roll, and 20 or under is usually what I roll. So let me just while you're thinking.
All right. Random encounters don't need to be like death type
Nope, but there are
encounters.
urban dangerous city random encounters, so I'll just go to that one. And we'll roll a d100. Go ahead. What are you guys doing?
No, he's going to go to the Tower of Contemplation.
Okay.
The other one would be the Monastery of Dissolution would be the next.
I need a perception check.
All right. Akka's perception is 7 or 9 versus a human. Basically, he's got eyes down. Come on, Akka. You need to get your groove back. We need to get you to kill something. 27 for Ashoka.
Okay, so Akka has just been eyes down, enjoying the outside. Ashoka, you pause for a moment. What time of day did you go?
We would have went to the Tower of Contemplation around like 10.
Okay, so there's still, it is not high noon yet. It is spring, so the sun isn't like as high in the sky as it could be. It's not noon, so there are still shadows. There are still morning shadows. And you got the distinct sensation that there were a number of creatures. You thought they might have been furry. At first you might have thought like a stray dog or something, but you saw a number of creatures in an alley as you were passing between these buildings. They might have been like collecting near this corner, like they were following you, and then they saw you turn around and look at them, and they kind of scurried back. With your 27, they cowls, a snout. They're medium sized, but they're a little bit smaller than men. They had long tails.
Are they Nozumi?
They could have been rat folk. 2 or 3 of them. They were pretty quiet. You don't know whether they just started following you recently or if they've been trailing you all the way since you left Ludus. But there was some activity in that area. Akka just stops, and then are you covering the fact that you saw something, or are you like turning around and you're like looking and all surprised?
No, we'll be trying to act like I didn't see anything. Keep going.
Give me a bluff.
Play the part of the rube.
Yep.
32.
Okay. They may have walked back. Instead, you pause at like somebody, not quite a shop, but it looks like they were preparing a cart like to drag off to the market, and you went over and pretended to stop to like buy a cantaloupe or something.
Is it fresh? Dook, dook, dook.
Right.
Sounds
right.
hollow. Should it be hollow?
Guy's looking at you is like, you want a few?
I'll give him a copper piece or whatever. And
Okay.
One.
You give him a copper.
Actually, I'll grab 2. I'll grab 2.
He looks, he's asking for another one.
Okay, I'll give him 2 coppers or whatever.
You'll enjoy them. They're sweet. And they're fresh too. Don't trust Merv. He's a horrible fruit vendor.
Which one is Merv?
You'll smell his fruit. They stink. The fruit vendor goes off. Maybe he lives in the tenement in front of you.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
Right.
You hand one to Akka. Akka's like just pulling it open with his strong hands and is eating the melon. You approach the Tower of Contemplation. You can hear inside the sounds of training, like katas, kind of like.
I will. Is there a door with a knocker? Or
Yeah,
just...
there are two doors that are open, and you can actually see like about a dozen monks training inside. Some of them have quarterstaves, some of them are just doing katas. The old man isn't there, but you do see. Let's see. I think we rolled up some random gladiators from this stable.
Does it look like the cast from a 70s kung fu movie?
Leading the way is a grim-looking half-orc. He's in dark robes. He's got dangling from his thread this weird ghost mask, like a kabuki mask almost.
Cool.
There is also somebody that is there that is training with a wolf. A big shaggy beast of a man, human. His wolf is large and seems to be well, it's like training with people. Like somebody is trying to pull back their staff, and the wolf is grabbing it and growling and trying to break the weapon out of his hands. Finally, the person at the doorway, this sweaty. At first, you thought it was a dwarf, but then you realized by the size of its nose that it's a gnome. This big barrel-chested gnome just steps in front of you. What are you gawking at?
I am here to pay my respects to the Grand Master. I am Ashoka Moruya of the Conclave of the Crimson Scale.
And you think respects are paid?
They are given.
Respect is a two-way street, bub.
Pointing a strong finger into your belly, kind of. Ooh, this guy's a little aggressive. Akka steps forward.
Don't think I'm afraid of you either. Bigger they all and all that.
You notice that the wolf is now baring its teeth at you, as there's obviously a problem at the front door. The big shaggy man basically waves off the angry-looking orc, and he actually walks outside. All right, giant killer, is what he says. He calls off basically the gnome. What do you want?
Attack gnome.
Picture Dirk from the other campaign. Big, shaggy human, really, really large. He's the one that is obviously the master of the wolf. Like, he basically kind of grabbed the scruff of the wolf, and it stopped showing its teeth, and it just kind of laid down a little bit. He walked over. Apologies. We're getting ready for a series of fights. Crimson Scale, did I hear you say?
Yes, Ashoka Moruya. I'll offer him my hand.
He looks at it. He thinks for a moment, he glances back. You're the ones that are feeding some creature of chaos and evil in your basement.
That was a temporary arrangement, and we are teaching it the ways of order. There is no room for a powerful, flying, chaotic beast. It's something that can integrate into society.
Such a beast is not natural.
Many things aren't natural.
You are playing with fire, and many will burn because of it.
That is a possibility.
What do you want?
I have come to pay my respects to the Grand Master to make certain that we have a strong relationship going forward.
You want to fight us and some of our monks?
It is tradition in the arenas for different houses to arrange fights or help with organization, that sort of things.
Okay. Yonkathu Mudagog. He is our champion. He also has enough say to arrange fights of low caliber.
I will nod to that, and I'm fine with the shit talk.
Yep. Do you have any monks? That's what he says. Or those that fight with their fists only?
While they are not monks in the traditional sense, our Primus does prefer every one of our gladiators have training with their hands. You never know the rules of combat, and being always armed is important.
He nods. Wait here. He goes and talks to the guy leading the scary looking half orc in the black robes with the weird ghost like mask.
That guy, Ghostface Killer over there.
Yep.
Giant Killer's the one that he's going to stab me to make a point that nobody was like. You looked at me funny, didn't ya?
Yeah, he's still glowering at you from inside the doorway. He's gone over to stand beside the wolf.
He's got like Urban Barbarian or something. Just as I can do this and not be mechanic.
Okay. They exchange a few words, and you notice that he nods, and then he comes back. We will have one fight this spring with your Ludus. Your best man in fisticuffs or whatever unarmed combat.
All right. To submission.
He furrows his brow at the suggestion that you wanted to do a death match.
Ashoka's confirming that it's to submission. Yeah.
Of course. There is no need for endless death. You are wise to come to us first. Should you wish it, death can be arranged.
Unnecessary waste is to be avoided.
We will meet again in 3 days. Our champions shall meet, or the combatants shall meet face to face. The Tower of Wu-Tang. Yeah, there's a bit of posturing. A bunch of dudes who have devoted their lives to battling. Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
Apparently apparently this place is interesting. They're letting their own gladiators decide who's fighting who. That's a different way of running a ludus. And while you don't have knowledge of religion, you're pretty sure that that's more than one. It's probably 3 or 4 different shrines set up along the side, like different god symbols that all seem to be honored in this training hall. And yeah, they're not all wearing the same uniform. There's a fucking wolf in there. Like, it's for a very lawful bent place. There seems to be a lot of variety.
Yeah. That's hilarious. We have a bunch of people who very much feel that. Also, our champion is trying to retrain his improved unarmed strike, because fuck that. I don't know that.
No, he's trying to retrain it because he went mutagenic mauler, which gives him unarmed.
He's got it. He's got a better version of it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. In 3 days' time, we shall bring our most powerful unarmed combatant for a meeting.
For a display.
Agreeable.
Okay. They're showing signs that they may not trust the tiering system.
Yes. Yeah. Well, also that I don't know if word went around, but Prentice Pennywise fucked everything. I'm unblooded and murdered everyone.
Right. They definitely knew who you were. Once you said the name, they didn't know like who Ashoka was. But they do now. They don't let you anywhere near their grandmaster. Like
That's fine.
You're pretty sure their word will be.
I showed up to the headquarters and said I'd like to talk to the boss, and somebody said, like, I'm the secretary, whatever. What do you need? Like, that's fine.
Right. All right, so you've set up a match.
No. All right. And I still have my cantaloupe, which is good. All right.
Acker's demolished his. He's like,
oh yeah,
6'3" warrior type that you feed pablum every day. He's gonna eat the fruit.
Okay. Ashoka is happy with this arrangement. We can put a note in there, Magnus, to do a display.
Right.
Ashoka has zero qualms with signing Magnus up for things that are like not to the death. He has zero anything.
Magnus, get up there and punch someone.
Yeah, punch it. It'd be awesome. They're going to see me. I'm great.
Yes.
Punch out the cow. Bring camels.
In fact, that's what we should do for the demonstration. Is we should have him knock out a camel.
Stupid beast.
That's actually a good point. If we should be preparing our demonstration or not. In Desperate Battle are such a bad feat. It's like, I like this. I'm like, no, I don't like that.
All right. Give me another perception check.
Okay, yeah, because, sorry, I will give you another perception check, but my plan is to go out and find my shadows, because I'd like to have a chat with them if they're still around. Hey, assassins in the dark, how you doing? You want to come have a chat with me? Just stab you in the face? 20?
Yeah, there's still some. Well, you don't see their outlines. There's some movement in the shadows between these four buildings. The shadowy movement moved to the edge here.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check to see what the distance of charm person is. Okay, can I get within 40 feet of where they are?
You gonna wander over?
Yeah, well, we're gonna walk nonchalantly.
Okay, well, once you get off the road, you're kind of wandering around the building. You notice the shadows recede. You'll have to go running around the corner to...
Okay, Aka. Stand there. Basically points sort of someplace kind of here. Just to, like, wait here.
Yep.
Ashoka is going to hand him his weapons. Keep them sheathed. If you're attacked, you can defend. You may defend yourself. If authorities come, do not unsheath your weapons. Give yourself up. Assassins, on the other hand, your discretion.
He's looking at you. It's like, what is it?
I don't know, but we'll find out. Ashoka is going to cast invisibility.
Okay.
And it's gonna fucking walk over around the thing.
Around the thing.
And he will cast his invisibility using his, while talking to Aka, just turn invisible power.
Yep. You get a little bit of, like, sort of a whoa out of Aka. He wasn't expecting that. You do go running around the corner. They have re-hidden. So let me roll first. How many are there?
I'm betting it all on them not having sea invisibility. That's what I'm betting it on.
You guys already passed through the city with all the rat folk in it, but there could be rat folk in nearby duchies. Let's see. There are 12 of them.
Oh, buddy.
What the
Hey,
what
bud,
the
you got
stink?
fucking
What the
Jesus
stink?
Christ, we live
All right, the chances of you seeing them is high. Let's just roll 12 stealth checks.
See, this is why I cast invisibility before going around the corner into the tarp.
Yeah, rat folk are small, so that increases it. That would be 2 plus 5 plus 6, 7, and then small plus 11. So 12 times 1d20 plus 11.
I see one for sure. My bonus is higher than... Actually, I see 2 of them. For sure. I will roll mine. Because how I act might vary based off of how many I see.
Right.
18. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Yep.
And there's like...
And you notice that they are armed. They've got small rapiers, daggers, light crossbows, and saps. They are looking hostile, and they're all kind of like hiding behind like staircases and in doorways and behind wooden structures. You can see some of them kind of like coming along the edge. They're starting to cluster near that corner where you stepped out. You're like close to one of them that's sneaking along the wall, who's kind of glancing, and he's like going like this with his claw, like hold back, like he's giving signals to the others. He actually raises his finger and says 1, and you notice that 3 that you saw and 2 that you didn't are now heading down in through the shadows to go towards Akka.
I would like to take whomever your leader is to lunch. This is kind of... There must be a better way to do this.
All right, so you're now talking to them. They seem quite perturbed that there is...
And if we're talking about how this talk... it's talk, step 5 feet, talk, step... Like, you know what I mean? Like, try not to... Like, moving around a little bit while talking.
Give me a charisma check.
All right. 24.
That wasn't diplomacy, it was just charisma, right?
That was charisma plus the circular persuasion, I believe, adds to charisma checks.
Okay, this panics them a little bit. And you notice that there are some even more that you haven't seen.
Yeah, it gets a bonus on charisma.
And they're all retreating from the voice, and the ones that were going to go attack Akka have stopped.
The offer is still open.
One of them actually pulls it, like, has a tiny whistle, makes this little bird noise, kind of like... And they're now bolting in all directions.
Oh,
Akka's got his weapon out, like he sensed something was wrong, and he's looking around.
You're going to have to drop me a line in the future, a memo, a scrolling,
Scurrying away.
a dead cat.
One of them turns around, bares its teeth at you, before disappearing.
All right.
Or I guess in your general direction.
The lions. Going the lions. All right. I am now going to take a moment to look for any sort of... I want to call Akka over.
Yep. Akka comes wandering over.
Rat folk here.
You did see that a number of them disappeared into a sewer access point.
Looks like it goes to this, like the aqueduct or sewer of some variety.
We'll call it a storm drain.